Tonight, the 19-year-old man arrested on murder charges while trying to flee the province has made his first court appearance. Ibrahim Hussein faced a judge. He's charged with first-degree murder and a number of firearms offenses.
Our entire team are very pleased, relieved, because we've worked so hard to ensure that our members get a fair share of the market.
Well, the price-setting panel's decision on this year's snow crab is good news for the Fisheries Union.
The Elks Avalon Spelling Bee is coming up this Saturday. I sit down with two school champions to see how I would fare. That story is COMINGUP.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. A 19-year-old St. John's man accused of first-degree murder has made his first court appearance this morning. Ibrahim Hussein was arrested in Port aux Basques yesterday. Police say he was hidden in a vehicle trying to board the ferry to Nova Scotia, and the driver of that car is also facing charges. The CBC's Mark Quinn reports.
Ibrahim Hussein showed no emotion when he appeared in provincial court in St. John's. He kept his eyes on the judge, glancing occasionally at a group of half a dozen men who came to support him. He's facing a first-degree murder charge following the shooting death of 33-year-old Gerald Kyle Hines on Tuesday. That shooting happened on Watson Street in St. John's. Ibrahim Hussein is also facing 6 other charges for gun offenses and breaches of court orders. 23-year-old Hussein is also charged in this matter. He's charged with trying to help Ibrahim escape police. He also faces a second charge for obstructing the police. Hussein appeared in court by video from the lockup in Corner Brook. The RNC says officers located Ibrahim Hussein Thursday in the trunk of a car driven by Hussein as it was waiting at the Marine Atlantic ferry terminal. Police would not disclose the relationship between the two men. Both men are being held in custody for their next court appearances in May. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, police are investigating an incident at a home in the Airport Heights neighborhood of St. John's early this morning. The RNC says officers responded to a disturbance at a house on Savannah Park Drive around 3:15 a.m. They received a call of a loud bang inside the house. The RNC's tactical response unit was also involved and directed a number of people to leave the house. There were no injuries, no arrests, or charges laid. Well, the union representing harvesters says the new price for snow crab is finally some good news. The panel in charge of setting the price this season made its decision yesterday, and as we reported last night, the panel sided with the union over processors. Here Now's Henrika Wilhelm reports.
Here at the Fisheries Union offices, it's a good day.
It was a victory.
$4.97 per pound for this snow crab season. It's what the union had asked for, while the Association of Seafood Producers wanted to see $4.50. The panel sided with the FFAW on Thursday.
All the news last night that we got, all the feedback, it was extremely positive. Harvesters were happy, finally feeling that there's transparency, that harvesters are going to be paid fairly and equally.
$4.97 is a base price. Once the actual market price of snow crab from this province is reported at the end of the season, there will be a price adjustment and rebates. Street says the ASP's lower offer would have meant weekly changes.
Once crab starts moving into the market, generally you do see a little bit of a price adjustment. It would have meant some harvesters being paid more than others throughout the season, and we certainly don't want that. We think every harvester, regardless of quota level, of vessel size, should have a share of that fair market value.
The union believes the panel's decision will give harvesters some stability in uncertain times amid an ongoing trade war with the United States and DFO's 25% quota cut in Division 3K in March, which led to protests in St. John's.
There is a lack of trust in the process, in price setting especially. We heard a lot of questions about the last 2 years and the panel's decisions, and I think this is going to help restore some of that trust in the process.
CBC News requested an interview with Association of Seafood Producers President Jeff Loader, but was told that he was in negotiations today and not available for comment until next week. Henrike Wilhelm, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, Elections Newfoundland and Labrador has released the financial statements of the province's political parties, and it's not a pretty picture for the Progressive Conservatives. The PCs began this year, an election year, with just $30,000 in the bank. That's about 17 times less cash than the Liberals. The Liberal Party was busier fundraising too, about 6 times more than the PCs.
I'm not worried about how that will happen. I think the money will be there. You know, people are reaching out to us. But more importantly for me, it's making sure that I've got quality candidates. And we have quality candidates right now that have signed up to say, yes, I want to represent the PC party in the House of Assembly. And that's where we'll get our support from.
Well, meanwhile, the NDP raised about $100,000 last year and had that amount in the bank at the beginning of 2025. That's far less than the Liberals, but triple what the PCs have. The New Democrats say the Liberal war chest gives that party a leg up going into the next election.
It certainly gives the a party that is able to get that kind of funding maybe an unfair advantage, someone who they can hire to do the work for them, and when other parties might depend on volunteers, which is why I think in many ways we need to look at some sort of a per vote or subsidy.
Well, the Liberal Party and the Premier's office declined a request for an interview on this. Voters will go to the polls sometime between now and October 14th. Now back to our coverage of this year's budget. Memorial University received an increase in funding in this year's provincial budget, with more funds dedicated to the university's maintenance issues. While the university says it's happy with the boost, students are cautiously optimistic about how the funds will be used. The CBC's Abby Cole has the story.
Since 2022, the university has slowly gotten used to seeing less and less funding every year. They have slashed their budgets, reduced their hiring, all the while dealing with their buildings falling apart. But now they're going to see a little more cash from the provincial government.
I would say it's a very positive budget for us, and we were delighted to see that the provincial government is willing to invest in Memorial University in this way.
More than $400 million is going to MUN. That's $89 million more than last year. Some of that is for the campus renewal fee, something students usually pay. Now, full-time students will save $500 a year. They're also getting $70 million over the next 8 years to fix things up.
It's a great start, that's for sure. We know we have a significant deferred maintenance situation at the university. It's been in the news, reported on before. This money will allow us to make further progress, and we will continue to advocate for that kind of funding.
Students are hoping they'll get to see some changes.
I'm kind of happy to see all these things coming back, because the whole tuition fee increase happened because funding stopped, right? And obviously the maintenance thing, because the new buildings are amazing. At the same time, the chemistry buildings and some other buildings out here, the old ones, they have the leakage and everything going on.
The washrooms are not working and they don't care.
The Students' Union is optimistic, but they say it's still not enough, pointing to the recent Auditor General's report, which found that significant investment is needed to fix infrastructure issues.
It's almost $500 million in deferred maintenance issues, so $70 million is not going to do the job, unfortunately, especially over 8 years.
They're also hoping to see a pause to increase tuition fees. Over the past 3 years, the province has been cutting money to offset tuition fees. This year, they paused that cut.
It wasn't the provincial government who wanted to do this. I mean, they haven't even committed to meeting with us, let alone doing anything to actually improve the lives of students.
Abby Cole, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the fourth formal hearing of the inquiry into the treatment of Innu in the child protection system has wrapped up in Shahajit. The inquiry heard from a number of former provincial government officials this week, hearing that government social services that were supposed to help have in fact undermined and harmed Indigenous families. Those involved in the inquiry say it shows how little the government understood the Innu culture.
It only just become recently that people are understanding who Innu people are, how colonial intergenerational trauma has impacted our communities, the child protection system, how it hasn't worked for Innu people, and the challenges that it brought.
And a lot of the social health and IRT, I basically sometimes when I think about it, I think they're just cleaning up the mess that the government had left over the years, and they're doing a fabulous job, but I think they need more support and resources. That's what I find.
Gander garage owner says American tariffs on the auto sector are going to sting his small business. The prices of vehicles will rise with a lot of auto parts needed to fix the cars and trucks already on the road. Troy Turner has the story.
The parts vary as much as the work. And these days, garages such as McCormick's in Gander are keeping an eye on the price of those parts.
I anticipate a significant change in availability and pricing over the next number of months.
Alan Brown bought McCormick's about 10 years ago, but he's been in the automotive industry for decades. He says the current trade dispute with the United States is a game changer.
I've advised my staff that whenever possible, we'll certainly purchase Canadian-produced products. When not possible, we'll see if we can source out a product maybe a little cheaper, perhaps, than what we've normally been purchasing. But we don't want to sacrifice quality either.
The U.S. intends to apply 25% tariffs on certain automobile parts on May 3rd. This week, Canada announced countermeasures against auto imports from the United States.
Everything has been so intertwined, like the parts, the materials certainly are produced somewhere, shipped in raw state, refined perhaps in another country, shipped to another country for processing, and so on. So I think this is going to be a challenge.
Brown, who's been keeping an eye on the tariffs over the past few months, says the trickle-down effect will hurt everyone.
Not good for my business, not good for my staff here and their personal lives, and not good for our customers, which is always a concern.
Brown said he will continue to look for suppliers outside of the U.S. And while there's a hope these tariffs will be temporary, he expects the relationship between Canada and the U.S. to be strained for years to come. Troy Turner, CBC News, Gander.
Well, another budget item this week, the province is spending $4 million to set up 10 speed cameras around the province. Veterans Memorial Highway will be the first spot to see the cameras, which will take photos of speeders and then send them a ticket in the mail. Today, the minister says other areas will soon start to see cameras roll out as well.
In the city of St. John's, obviously, Mount Pearl, CBS, Paradise, some of those participating in the pilot project. And we'll be looking at central Newfoundland, Labrador, western, and certainly in Labrador as well. So it's a minimum of 10, and we're looking forward to rolling it out. And certainly, hopefully, there will be no tickets. But unfortunately, probably there will be tickets.
Well, taking a look at what's going on out there across the province, a whole lot of nothing, which is lovely. A nice ridge of high pressure in place, leading to some beautiful afternoon skies with plenty of sunshine. This ridge of high pressure is essentially going to stick around as we head through the weekend. By the time we get into Saturday or Sunday night into Monday, things will change. But for the most part, we're going to deal with some nice weather. Much milder temperatures as well. That will be the story as we head through tomorrow. And then, like I said, we will see that weather move in. It'll bring some rain, certainly by the time we get into Monday. I'll get into all the details a little later.
With some warmer weather in the forecast, signs of summer are starting to show across Newfoundland and Labrador. And as we move closer to summer, some seasonal businesses are beginning to open. The CBC's Jenna Head has the scoop on one of those businesses.
It's one of the most popular ice cream shops on the Avalon Peninsula.
We have people coming in from, like, I don't know, literally newborns probably, up to 120 years old if we got them here.
With up to 52 flavors of ice cream to choose from when summer hits, this nostalgic pink building on Conception Bay Highway expects to be a lot busier this weekend when Berg's opens for the summer season.
How many people do you serve on average on a weekend here in CBS specifically?
In CBS, I would say at least 1,000 a day.
When we post on the Facebook, there's many people sharing, many people commenting, and that they've been waiting.
Waiting for a sweet scoop of summer.
There's one lady out there, she gets a scoop and a half of grape nut in a large waffle cone, no spoon. She walks to the store every week, and I already know what she wants. I have it ready for her when she gets up.
And this year, customers will be greeted with a new look.
Here in CBS, we've gotten some new renovations done, so it's pretty exciting up here. Lots of new flavors on the way as well.
But don't worry, those classic Atlantic Canadian flavors remain. If you're looking for a taste of summer, Berg's is now open in CBS, and while I may be wearing a winter coat, the weather is always nicer, and now you can enjoy an ice cream with that sunshine too. Jenna Head, CBC News, Conception Bay South.
Oh, that looks delicious. Well, the film Skeet will begin screening in St. John's tonight. The locally made film reflects the changing face of the city and stars a number of Syrians who have made St. John's home. The team behind Skeet spoke with CBC Radio. The movie debuts at the Avalon Mall Cineplex, 7 p.m. tonight.
I think the messages of this film are hard, and I think that they're real, and I think that they're things we should talk about. You know, I think that there's... I really hope that someone like Mahmoud or someone of his generation watches this film and because a great Middle Eastern filmmaker comes out of Newfoundland from watching it, or gets inspired to go make a short film or go make TV or podcast or something. Inspire. I mean, I think we all make art to try to inspire others, right?
Yeah.
So I think that I think people laugh at the title sometimes. They think it's a joke, and I'm fine with that. I come from comedy, you know what I mean? But I think in the end, when you watch this film, I think you'll realize there's a lot more to it than just the name, the title Skeet.
Yeah, and I think as well that when you watch this film, you actually look in the mirror and start to realize maybe I do have a bit of racism in me. Maybe I am a bit prejudiced.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a a stigma that I feel about certain people and certain their economic wealth or what they have, and judging. And I think trying to actually be a little kinder to people that aren't as fortunate, because, let's face it, we are white privilege. And not everybody has that. Not everybody has access to good food, good health, good dental, good eye care. It's something that I think that people really need to, because Newfoundlanders will constantly say, "Oh no, I'm not racist," but, but, and it's that showing that light and looking at, and taking a note from this film that maybe I should be less judgmental.
When for someone like me who came here I didn't speak English. I remember when first week for me here, I was crying every night.
Yeah.
I didn't speak the language. I had no friends, and I was ready to pack up and go back to what I'm familiar with and comfortable with. And one of the reasons I wanted this movie to be successful, so each one has a story, but the less pain that new immigrants have to go through, the better. And hopefully this movie is going to help with that.
Yeah, to feel seen and heard, and to have your story or a story similar to yours on the big screen. That's there, like that. The movie's not going anywhere. It is established, and this story is now part of the history of the province, the history of some of the Syrian people. And you can watch it in Damascus, you can watch it in St. John's. I mean, that's something.
It is special, and I'm very proud of it, honestly.
Sorry about that. We're having a bit of a technical problem with Ashley's green screen. Actually, it turned blue. So we're trying to figure out why that happened. So we are going to get to the weather in just a few minutes. But for now, a legend of Labrador literature, Lydia Campbell, has a new headstone thanks to one of her descendants. And Campbell was an Inuk woman born in 1818 who wrote her memoir at age 75. Late last month, 60 people traveled to Campbell's home of Mulligan for a historic ceremony. Andrea McGuire has more.
It's about 160 kilometers round trip on snowmobile to reach Mulligan from Happy Valley Goose Bay. The historic settlement isn't connected by road, but that didn't stop about 60 people from making their way there over the sea ice last week. They gathered to celebrate the life of Lydia Campbell, a highly respected writer and matriarch in Labrador, whose memoir was published in 1894, when Campbell was 75 years old. Thanks to the Department of Labrador Affairs, a few seniors also arrived by helicopter. Everyone here to see this, a new headstone for the renowned Inuk writer. Mina Campbell is Lydia Campbell's great-great-granddaughter and has a cabin in Mulligan. When she saw that the old headstone was broken, she took action.
That's eventually going to fall. It's going to go in the ground. And then in 100 years from now, it's going to be under the ground. And so nobody will know where she is.
Campbell teamed up with MHA Lisa Dempster, who happens to be the province's Minister of Labrador Affairs, and a descendant of Lydia Campbell.
Life was not easy for her. She had 11 children in total. She informally raised 2 more. And in her writings, it's always so positive. The only thing you might ever know of her hardships would be if she mentioned the beautiful cranberry banks in the fall and the sun shining on the tombstones.
The popular magazine Them Days also got involved.
Labrador probably has more of a culture of memoir writing probably than many other places, and a lot of it probably goes back to Lydia.
Thomas Bakey is another descendant of Lydia Campbell. He moved away from Mulligan when he was 7, and he's one of the last year-round residents of the settlement.
That's a legacy that's going to live on now. I mean, it's not going to disappear into the ground and be grown over by moths or anything, so it'll live on now for the younger generation.
Andrea McGuire, CBC News, Mulligan.
Well, we got it all working, but here at the jumbo screen, obviously, we've got, a little bit of weather to talk about, good weather to talk about, which will be nice. But first, the sunshine today led to a really beautiful picture from space. This was the view earlier this afternoon. We can see a couple of things on this photo that really stuck out for me, which was the fact that the eastern half of the island is relatively no snow cover whatsoever. The western half of the island does, but areas towards the coast, obviously, you're not seeing any snow cover at the moment, and then still very much up across Labrador. Now, coastal areas of the sea ice, we can see it right along the sea ice there, right along the coast, but it's certainly being pushed further offshore. And the reason for that is because we've seen generally westerly or southwesterly winds. But we talked about the icebergs as well. There are lots of icebergs in that sea ice, but for now they are well offshore. We will definitely need those northerly or northwesterly winds to move in before we start to see any of that activity. And you can really see that on the radar today, even that motion pushing it further offshore with those winds, and then plenty of sunshine again for the island. And we do have a little bit of cloud cover moving in now. But that should be pretty much it. The live shot outside right now still showing beautiful blue skies. Temperatures sitting around 8 degrees right now. That wind chill more like -4, but those winds steady out of the west at around 32 kilometers per hour. So we will continue to see the winds ease as this ridge of high pressure starts to dominate the weather picture. But overall, our temperatures are still sitting really in the single digits across the board. And then up across Labrador, same thing with the exception of the north coast and Lab West into the -single digits. So if we take a look at what is going to happen as we head through the overnight tonight, generally clouds between partly cloudy to clear skies through the overnight. Not a whole lot happening weather-wise. That should just be the case as we head into early tomorrow morning as well, with temperatures hovering into the -single digits. That will be the story across the island, with the winds generally out of the southwest, only about 10 to as much as 15 kilometers per hour. Labrador, for the most part, either -single digits or -teens, and again, light winds for you as well. Now, as we head into tomorrow, that ridge of high pressure dominating, we should see plenty of sunshine through the afternoon. The only thing is it's moving off, and that will change the winds to more easterly winds by the time we get into the afternoon, and that is going to cool the temperature down, especially if you are along the coast, the eastern coast of the Avalon. Temperatures will definitely be cooler for you. Really anywhere where those winds will blow onshore will be a little bit on the cool side tomorrow afternoon through central, though definitely warming up. And then we've got some high cloud that will move in late day. But it should be absolutely beautiful. That will be the story across most of Labrador as well. And then as we get into Sunday, a little bit more cloud cover on the way for your Sunday. So temperatures 8 to 10 or even 12 degrees. We may see it a little bit warmer on the Burin Peninsula as well, so anywhere from 10 to 13 degrees. And there's that wind shift I was talking about, westerlies to more easterlies. That is going to keep the temperatures for those of you that are in onshore flow to struggle to reach the mid-single digits through the day. And then across Labrador, lots of sunshine, temperatures between 1 and about 6 degrees through the day. And again, your winds will be out of the southwest, somewhere between 20 to as much as 30 kilometers per hour. Now, if we take a look at the long range forecast as we head into Monday, because that's when our next weather maker will move in, temperatures will start to cool a little bit, but we've certainly got some rain on the way. We may even see some freezing rain with this one as well for parts of the northern peninsula, and maybe even some snow. So I'll break that down for you when I come back a little later.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Sorry about that. Well, for years, the Telegram hosted a province-wide spelling bee. That ended with the pandemic in 2020. However, some volunteers, a group from the Elks Club, and local sponsors are bringing it back. Students on the Avalon can compete this year with the hopes it'll soon be provincial once again. Now, the bee takes place tomorrow, so the CBC's Jeremy Eaton sat down with some of the competitors to put his spelling to the test.
So we're going to get started now with Speller 7. Adine, your word is dabble.
Dabble. D-A-B-B-L-E. Dabble.
That's correct.
Attaboy!
Speller 9. Kate, your word is a lot.
A lot. A-L-L-O-T. A lot.
That's correct.
Ooh, nice. Oh, God, you guys got easy words.
Speller 11. Your word is louse.
Hang on. L-O-U-S-E.
That's correct.
Boom!
Right. So nobody eliminated in that round.
Oh,
so
gosh.
we'll move right into the next round.
How many kids will take part on Saturday and from how many schools?
There are 20 schools from grades 4 to 8. Last year there were 10 schools, 4 to 6. This year we expanded it to grades 4 to 8. And the schools range from city schools, Mary Queen of Peace, Upper Gullies, where Kate was from, to Fatima Academy in St. Bride's. And gradually we're hoping to set about to bring back the provincial spelling bee, that this will be something that will help revive the provincial spelling bee eventually.
Are you at all nervous about this big event? You'll be competing against much. So yeah, how are you feeling about this event coming on Saturday?
I'm pretty nervous because I've never really done anything like it before, but also excited because it's like a new thing.
I understand the winner gets to go to the Nationals. Is that something on your mind, or are you just trying to get through? Because
I don't know, I'm just kind of like focusing on this one.
You and I and Adine are going to do some words. How do you think you're going to do against me?
I might win.
You might win. Okay. How do you think I'm going to do? Yeah. Okay. That's
not
cool.
great.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. How do you think you're going to do against me?
Really good.
Why is that?
Because I think I've studied for a really long time that I think I'm going to beat you.
Do you think I've studied?
No.
Yeah, you're right.
Speller 7. Your word is nullify.
Nullify. N-U-L-L-I-F-Y. Nullify.
That's correct.
Man.
Speller 9. Your word is hypodermic.
Hypodermic. H-Y-P-O-D-E-R-M-I-C. Hypodermic.
That's correct.
Gosh, you guys are good. You folks are good.
Are you ready, Speller 11?
Oh yeah, always.
Can you spell calamitous?
Oh man, no. Yeah, sorry. Could I get the definition, please, Shannon?
Calamitous means involving catastrophe.
Country of origin?
Not information I've got here, unfortunately.
Calamity?
Calamitous.
Oh my God. Oh. C-O-L-L. What? C-A-L-L-A-M-O-U-D-O-U-S. Man!
I'm afraid calamitous is C-A-L-A-M-I-T-O-U-S.
Not even close, kids. I don't think I'm going to win. All right, so does that mean I'm no, this is my TV show. Let's do another round.
All right. Well, I think now that we've eliminated Speller 11, let's move to words that the spellers haven't studied.
Whoa!
Let's make this a little bit more interesting, eh?
Oh, man.
Not that hard, though, I promise. So let's see. How about we give Speller 7, the first word that I've got here is deluxe.
Deluxe. D-E-L-U-X-E. Deluxe.
That's correct. Kate, Speller 9. Can you spell dreary?
Dreary. D-R-E Jerry.
Close. Jerry is D-R-E-A-R-Y. Well done.
Well done.
Congratulations, Adine.
Well,
out of the three of us, you are the spelling champion.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Well done. Well done. You get a handshake. But what will people see on Saturday if they wanted to come see the spelling bee?
Well, they're going to see a fantastic array of spellers, first and foremost, because these are all kids that have already won their school bee. So these are all terrific spellers to begin with. So hopefully they're going to see a very good competition. They're going to see words. The word list tends to be organized so that easier words are present first, and then we gradually ramp up the level of difficulty. So you'll eventually see the cohort of spellers boil down to the absolute best of the best. And then at some point, it might take an hour, it might take a whole lot longer than that, we will declare our provincial champion.
Now to the campaign trail. Liberal leader Mark Carney took time away from the federal election campaign to meet with his cabinet committee on Canada-U.S. relations and national security. The Prime Minister later told reporters discussions had focused on how American tariffs are affecting Canada already.
In the last week, there have been a lot of developments in terms of U.S. tariff policy, reactions from others, including China, really marked tightening in financial conditions, a slowing, the initial signs of slowing in the global economy, impacts that we're starting to see unfortunately in the Canadian economy, particularly in the Canadian labour market.
Carney said he gave officials instructions to prepare the next government for negotiations with the U.S. after the federal election. Markets have been in turmoil in recent weeks, with U.S. President Donald Trump repeatedly changing course on tariffs. As of now, there are still 25% tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and automobile imports to the U.S. Pierre Poilievre is campaigning in southwestern Ontario. The Conservative leader was talking about his party's economic plan, but Poilievre is facing criticism from within his own party that he should refocus the campaign instead of on the threat from Donald Trump.
Liberals and lobbyists want me to stop talking about high food prices. Well, I'm not going to do that, because single mothers shouldn't be going to bed hungry, worried about how they're going to feed their kids in the morning. They want me to stop talking about the doubling housing costs during the lost Liberal decade. I'm not going to stop talking about that. They want me to stop talking about the rampaging crime that's overtaking our streets and the overdose crisis Liberals caused that has taken the lives of 50,000 people. I will not stop talking about that either.
Poilievre was also asked about the views of a local Conservative candidate on abortion. He says there would be no laws passed restricting access to abortion under a Conservative government. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh faced repeated reporter questions about what he hopes to achieve in a campaign where he stopped saying he's running to be Prime Minister. Singh pointed to holding the balance of power in a minority parliament.
We want to make the case for Canadians that Canada works best when one party doesn't have all the power. And when people have voted for New Democrats, they voted for a party and leaders that have gone to Ottawa and fought for them and delivered for them. Because people voted for us, we were able to deliver things like dental care and the first steps towards national pharmacare.
Singh cited other policy achievements by leaders who preceded him. The session with reporters followed a speech at a conference convened by the institute named after former NDP chief Ed Broadbent. John's who just Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Happy 55th anniversary to John and Betty Newman from Boyd's Cove. Congratulations to Cease and Mary Lou Blackwood. They're celebrating their 65th anniversary. Happy 58th anniversary to Norbert and Mary Lou Dwyer of Paradise. Wishing Lawrence and Doreen Carey of Fermuse a happy 53rd anniversary. Happy 68th anniversary to Norm and Rita Collins of Hare Bay, now in Glovertown. Anniversary greetings going out to Audrey and Lloyd Thomas of St. Paul's River on the lower north shore of Quebec. They've been married for 62 years. Happy 56th anniversary today to Rowena and Junior Jackson. Love from your family and friends. Wishing Francis and Linda Verge of Triton a happy 63rd anniversary today. Happy 63rd anniversary also to Cecil and Florence Gilbert. They're in Grand Falls, Windsor. Congratulations to Leona and Freeman Rideout of Seal Cove, Fortune Bay. They're celebrating 68 years of marriage. Happy 56th anniversary to Everett and Joy Brett of Joe Bat's Arm, Fogo Island. Don and Elsie Dove are marking 54 years of marriage in Deer Lake tomorrow. Happy 66th anniversary to Frank and Mildred Normore of Lansaloo, Labrador. Best wishes going out to Rebby and Gordon Fifield from Dildo, Trinity Bay. They've been together for 67 years. Happy 59th anniversary today to Joan and Donald Young of Norris Arm North. Happy 54th anniversary to Larry and Evelyn Han of St. John's. Best wishes from your family and friends. Joe and Ruby Fifield of Valleyfield, Bonavista Bay are celebrating their 58th anniversary. Congratulations. Happy 62nd anniversary to Hubert and Violet Sampson of Peterview. Happy anniversary to Judy and Donald Thomas. They're celebrating 51 years together. Happy 59th anniversary today to Martha and Samuel Furlong from Plate Cove West. And here's a couple of lovebirds. These are my former neighbors in Mount Pearl. Ray and Linda Patzold are celebrating 54 years of marriage. Congratulations, you two. And in Port Union, happy 65th anniversary today to Arthur and Hilda George. Now to some birthdays, starting with a big one. Audrey Boone is turning 105 tomorrow. Audrey is from Topsail but now lives in St. John's. Lots of love from your family and friends. Happy 91st birthday tomorrow to Alfred Sharp, living in Mount Pearl, with love from your 4 children, 13 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren. Happy birthday to Gerald Lodge of Labrador City, now living in St. John's, who just turned 91. Wishing Lawrence Coombs of Plum Point a happy 92nd birthday. Love from your great-grandchildren in Corner Brook. Happy birthday to Evelyn Walsh, who's living in Brigus. She's turning 91. Happy 90th birthday to Rodney Stratton of Massey Drive. Mary Dwyer is also celebrating a 90th birthday. She's from Kelligrews. Happy 92nd birthday tomorrow to Paul Broders of Beta Verde. Muriel Sharp of Crow Head, Twillingate, turns 92 on Sunday. Happy 93rd birthday to Alan Billard of Carboneer. Love from all your family and friends. Happy birthday going out to Annie Kernew of Stephenville Crossing, who's celebrating her 90th birthday, and wishing Olive Lewis a happy 91st birthday in Lewisport. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again, and a nice batch of cats in those photos. Always like seeing the pets.
Always. Always.
All right, so here we are. The weekend is here. We've had a nice stretch of sunshine this week. What's in store for us throughout the weekend?
Yeah, so we've got a little bit more sunshine in the forecast before things change course by the time we get into Sunday night. So let's take a look at what's going on until we get there. So a little bit more cloud cover expected for your Sunday. It'll still be a fairly nice day, but we will see those clouds move in. And then as we head into the evening hours, our next weather maker is going to move closer, and that is going to bring the chance of some flurries or some showers rather through the overnight period Sunday evening, and eventually by the time we get into early Monday. So temperatures overall will be sitting generally in the double digits, and that will be the case east through central. South coast, though, still in the mid to upper single digits. Northern Peninsula, you're going to hang out in the mid single digits, and then Labrador still well above zero, anywhere from 5 to 8 degrees. And again, a little bit more sunshine for your forecast through the day. Those clouds will move in later on in the evening and through the overnight for you. Now, as we head into Monday, we will see that rain work its way north by the time we get into Monday morning, pretty much across the island. Now, the Northern Peninsula, you will be on the cool end of this, so you'll either see the potential for some flurries and then maybe even some freezing rain in the mix there as well for parts of central. It will really depend on the temperatures, but at this point, most of eastern half of the island will see rain, and some of that could be fairly significant as well. 2 to about 7 degrees. You can see along southern areas of the island, temperatures are a little milder. You head towards central Northern Peninsula, only about 2 or 3 degrees where we'll top out. Labrador, 2 to 3 degrees for you as well, and again, you're looking at the potential for some flurries through the day. The long-range forecast showing temperatures will warm back up by the time we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, although it will be a bit unsettled. Still looking at the chances of some showers in that time frame, and your overnight lows actually should stay above zero. It looks like between 1 and 3 degrees. Central Newfoundland, you are also looking at a similar forecast for your Monday, Tuesday, again on the cooler side though, warming back up by the time we get into Wednesday with a little bit of sunshine in the mix there as well. For Western Newfoundland, we could get into more of a wintry mix by Tuesday, and then Wednesday 8 degrees and some sunshine in the mix there too, some clearing. And then for Labrador, you're going to stay above zero, although by the time we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, chances of some flurries, a little bit more of a wintry end to the week, and that'll be the case for Western Newfoundland, Western Labrador as well, rather, where your temperatures will flirt with the 0 degree mark by the time we get into Wednesday. Our weather photo of the day taken in Postville. Speaking of some snow, this is a pretty dramatic photo. I thought it was such a great shot there.
Very moody.
Very dramatic, yes. Thank you to Samantha for that lovely photo, and if you have any, you can send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca. We love to see them.
You know, I don't mind all the rain on the way because you know what they say, April showers
brings May flowers.
Yes,
They're already
so that's good.
Popping up. All the tulips are ready to go.
Yep, can't wait.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you can join us again on Monday.
Good night.